My name is Bob, and I've always had an affinity for old, peculiar objects. So, when I stumbled upon the abandoned antique shop in the heart of the city, I couldn't resist venturing inside. The rain poured relentlessly outside, and the flickering streetlights seemed to beckon me into the eerie darkness of the store. Pushing the creaking door open, I was greeted by a gust of musty air that carried the scent of time. The place was a labyrinth of antique treasures, each with its own haunting story to tell. The shelves were lined with weathered books, dusty mirrors, and fading photographs that seemed to follow my every move. However, one item, in particular, caught my eye, an ornate, crimson velvet box perched atop a pedestal. As I approached it, a shiver ran down my spine, and my heart quickened. There was something unsettling about the box, something that pulled me in and warned me to stay away all at once. But the allure was too strong to resist, and with trembling hands, I reached for the lid. As soon as my fingers brushed the velvet, a surge of coldness enveloped me, sending a chill through my entire body. Ignoring the warning signs, I slowly lifted the lid, revealing a doll, unlike any I had ever seen before. Its porcelain face wore an expression of malevolence, and its eyes seemed to bore into my soul. Mesmerized and unnerved, I purchased the doll and carried it home, unable to shake off the feeling that I had unleashed something sinister. The rain continued to fall as the night settled in, and the atmosphere around me seemed to grow darker. Ignoring the growing sense of dread, I placed the doll on a shelf in my living room, hoping its malevolence would be contained within the confines of the crimson box. That night, I was plagued by vivid nightmares of the doll moving on its own, its porcelain limbs contorting into unnatural positions. I woke up with a start, covered in cold sweat, but there, on the shelf, the doll had shifted. Its malevolent gaze now pointed directly at me, and I felt a wave of terror wash over me. Convinced that my imagination was playing tricks on me, I tried to shrug off the eerie occurrences. But night after night, the nightmares continued, and the doll seemed to grow more malevolent with each passing day. I began to hear faint whispers in the darkness, as if the doll itself was taunting me. In a desperate attempt to rid myself of the cursed object, I returned to the antique shop, only to find it vanished, as if it had never existed. Panic set in as I realized that I was trapped with the malevolent doll and its sinister curse. As days turned into weeks, the doll's influence over my life grew stronger. It seemed to feed on my fear, thriving on my misery. I became a recluse, afraid to leave my home, haunted by the doll's malevolent presence. Its whispers echoed in my mind day and night, slowly driving me to the brink of madness. In my desperate search for answers, I stumbled upon an old journal in my attic, belonging to the original owner of the cursed antique shop. The journal spoke of dark rituals, curses, and ancient relics meant to bring unimaginable power to their possessors. Among those cursed objects, the journal mentioned the doll, the very one that now plagued my life. Driven by a newfound determination, I sought a way to break the curse. The journal spoke of a hidden ritual, a dangerous and arduous process that could sever the bond between the cursed object and its victim. With nothing left to lose, I gathered the necessary items and prepared myself for the ritual that would decide my fate. As the rain poured outside, I stood before the malevolent doll, chanting the ancient words with trepidation. The atmosphere crackled with energy, and I could feel the doll's malevolence resisting the ritual's power. But I persisted, my voice growing stronger with each verse. In a blinding flash of light, the curse was broken, and the malevolent presence of the doll faded away. I collapsed to the floor, exhausted but relieved that I had finally freed myself from its haunting grip. However, the antique shop's curse was not entirely vanquished. The objects I had collected over the years carried residual energies, reminding me of the price of my curiosity. And as I looked at the empty shelf where the malevolent doll once sat, I knew that some curses were best left undisturbed, for the price of knowledge can sometimes be one's own sanity.